Hi, my name is Mike Packer. I work for the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and today I'm going to try and teach you and show you how to fish. By a raise of hands, how many of you all have ever fished before? I'm just now realizing I have no way of knowing who of you has raised their hand, but I'm hopeful that a few of you show that you have fished before. If you haven't, that's what I'm here for. It may seem like a scary or daunting thing, but it's super easy. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes really, really fun. So when it comes to fishing, there's a lot of different varieties of fishing poles that you can use. A common one that you'll see is known as a spinning rod or spin casting rod. Looks like this. Really easy to use. Not as easy as one that we'll show you here in a little bit, but we've got that one. We have some that look more like this. It's a spin cat or bait casting rod. Notice that the reel is a little bit different. The way that you cast it is a little bit different, a little bit harder. Then you've got some that look like this. It's called a fly fishing rod. All sorts of crazy wizardry with this. You're flailing around this line in the air, which is fun. You've also got some that have no reel, just line. It's known as this very, very long Tenkara rod. I know that was getting really close to you. Just wanted to get in touch with you. Make sure you're not falling asleep on me there. And then others as small as this little guy. Same little spin cat or spinning rod, but it's meant for ice fishing. Just super cool. The one that we are going to be using today is called a spin casting rod. And the reason I like to use it is because it's very easy to learn how to fish with. So let's step over and I'll show you what we're going to be working with. So let's take a look at this guy. So very similar to those that I showed you before, just a little bit different setup when it comes to the reel here. Notice this button? This button is the key. With the others, you kind of have to flip over a mechanism to get that line to go out. With these guys, it's as simple as pressing the button and then releasing the button. And when you release it, I'll show you here in a sec, it lets this line go out of the reel itself. When we want that line to come back in, I'm going to push this reel handle forward. You're going to hear a click. Oh, beautiful. You start to bring that line back in. All right? So now you're wondering, what exactly am I casting here? Let's give you the setup. Today we've got this little plastic fish. It looks very much like a jumbo-size goldfish cracker, which if you're hungry, I apologize. But this little guy is what we're going to use as a lure to be able to catch some of these other fish that are out behind me. All right, so let's take a look at exactly what we're catching in front of us. I want you to look out at this beautiful, beautiful area, right? You'll notice that we've got this majestic parking lot. Don't think of this as a parking lot anymore, my friends. This is an extension of the beautiful Utah Lake behind us. And these out here in front of us are extremely colorful white bass. Okay, stay with me, hear me out. So these are the fish that we're going to be targeting today. White bass are found in Utah Lake. Delicious. They fight like champions. They're just so great. So today, that's what we're going to be going after. How do we catch them? We use, remember this guy, the jumbo goldfish cracker? We use that to go past these fish. And in the front of this, there's a little flip-flop front, right? It looks kind of strange, but it's meant to have that fish cruise up behind it, lock into the front, and then that becomes the way that we retrieve this fish, which sounds fine and dandy, but let's show you what that means, all right? So we've got this pole. We know how the line goes out, but where do we start, right? Let's go through those fundamentals. All right, so I've got this pole, right? We've got the setup here. Handle that we hold on to when we're casting. We don't want to let go of this thing because if we don't hold on to it, there goes our pole, and that's no bueno. But we've got handle to our reel. Inside the reel is a bunch of fishing line. This fishing line goes all the way through these guidelines on our rod here that's very flexible out to our lure, right? And we need this line to go out via this button, okay? So I've got this pole. Sweet, I'm super excited. I've got it in my hands. I can hold it with one hand, this hand, both hands, doesn't matter. It's gonna do the exact same thing. But to get it out, I start here and I press the button. I press and hold down this button. And if I don't hold down this button, say I get ready to cast and I let go this button, I don't know if you could see that, but that thing went clear behind me, and I'm probably going to catch somebody over there in section B. Bill, you okay? He's all right. So we're going to bring this back here. Let's try this one more time. Did you notice that method or that movement that I was using? Have any of you, by the show of hands, have you ever thrown a baseball, football, something like that? Again, I realize that I cannot see who of you has raised your hand, but I'm hoping some of you raised your hand. You know that method or that motion where you go behind you, and then when you get here, you almost just let it go, and out goes the ball? It's the same method with fishing, right? With this casting pole. We're going to start in front of us, press and hold down this button. Notice if I don't press it down far enough or hard enough, you'll notice that this fish just starts to drop on me, right? I got to press and hold down that button firm enough that I don't see that guy drop. But I'm going to use that same method like I'm throwing a baseball. So I'm going to go behind me, and then straight in front of me, and when I get to about here, it's almost like I'm the Babe, if you know who that is in baseball, but I'm calling my shot, like I'm gonna plan a home run, and I'm gonna hit it back over that giant field out there, right, that wall. So I'm gonna swing it in front of me, let go my thumb off the button, not letting go of the pole, but I'm gonna let go about here, and out goes my fish. That beautiful plug to catch those majestic white bass. To get it back in, remember, we click this guy forward, that beautiful audible click, and I bring it back in. Oh, she's coming. Oh, she's a monster. Just kidding, but we're getting so close. So, we've got it down, right? Treat it like we're gonna throw a baseball, kind of, and then make sure that we let go of that button at about here. If my hand were the arm of a clock, if this was noon, I go to 1 o'clock, about 2 o'clock is where I want to let my thumb off of this button. Not let go of the pole, just let go of the button. What happens if I let it go too early? It's the same thing. Just bad news bears. Look at this, all this tangled nonsense. No bueno. If I let it go at the back end of me, so say I've got it held here, but I go behind, then let go of the button, it either gets snagged on itself, doesn't go out, or it ends up back behind me. If I let it go kind of maybe noon, if my hand was a clock, remember that? Notice, I don't know, you can't see it, but it just went up to the stratosphere, my friends. And that's no bueno, because it's going straight up. It's not going out. I'm not accurate. I can't point where I want this guy to go. And that's kind of the ticket. Along with letting or making sure that I let go at about 2 o'clock, I'm essentially using this pole to point where I want this fish to go, right? Simple, easy enough. Talking is great, but fishing is so much better. So we're gonna get to some fishing, but I wanna go over some safety. I know that it's just me out here talking to Sam, talking to Phil or George, whomever that was over there. I can't remember. I have the memory of a goldfish. But I don't have very many people around me, right? I don't have to worry about being too safe. But when you guys are fishing, make sure that you are giving yourself adequate distance from your friend, your family, whomever is fishing next to you. And also be aware that in this case, it's just this plastic little fish, right? But you will have a hook or a lure, something that's not as kind friendly as this guy. So if you're whipping this guy around, you're either gonna hook and hurt yourself, which is not fun, or you're gonna hook and hurt your friend. So make sure that you are safe, got enough distance, and most of all, just make sure that you exert some or have some time, some patience. I'm gonna show you one more time. Did you notice when I let this guy go, when I cast, am I using a lot of force? Let's try this while I'm talking to you. Is that a lot of force? No, and it just went clear out there. It's because with fishing, it's far more important to have proper form and be finesse or have finesse than it is to use a lot of muscle. If I try to crank this guy out there, it's usually gonna either plummet into the ground or it's gonna go somewhere that I don't want, may hurt somebody. Far better to take your time and make sure that it goes out beautifully than it is to put a ton of muscle into this bad boy. Simple enough? All right. Sam, can we cut to some B-roll of like a montage of fishing? So I know not all of you have these cool little plastic goldfish, or you guys don't have these extremely colorful white bass. But Josh, don't you let that stop you from going out and practicing. I don't know if there's a Josh in your classroom, but let's just pretend. If you guys want to do the same thing, you can use a fishing pole and attach a fishing weight. You can attach some heavier twine, something to give you some weight to be able to go out in your backyard, go to a park, go to somewhere with some grass, your driveway, anywhere where you can practice casting yourselves. You could use some things or put some things out like a hula hoop, something to give you some targets to try and cast to. Don't let not having these little plastic guys or these very colorful white bass deter you or stop you from getting out there and trying to learn how to cast and eventually find your way to a place like Utah Lake. It's a great place to learn how to fish and catch some white bass or fish of any kind, because fishing, my friends, is so good, my man. All right, let's cast this bad boy out and catch some of these very colorful white bass. Oh, it's a giant. Oh, oh, look at this beauty. Oh, it's easily a 5-pounder. Oh my gosh. And voila. I mean, my goodness. It's just beautiful, tasty. Let's do it some more.